Hey everybody, it's Kenny K here again with a delicious review. Predators. It's gonna be the last Predator movie that I'm gonna discuss because the rest is garbage. You know, there's even a new one coming out called Predator Badlands, and it appears that this Predator is fighting with humans, and he has braids, and he has this lightsaber. Oh my god. Where was the time that we had Arnold Schwarzenegger's Predator? Billy, get me away out of this hole. Get to the chopper. I mean, it's the testosterone flew from the screen. You know, you had Carl Weathers, you had Jesse the Body Ventura, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, you had Sonny Landon, who needed a security guard, not for him, not for the people, not for him, but for the people around him. Jesus Christ, this movie was great. And if I have to say, top five favorite sci-fi horror movies: The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, 10 out of 10, and then it's a 9.5 out of three movies: Predator, The Terminator, and Aliens. And then you've got four movies, and Alien will be a nine, a niner. Yeah. And Alien is a slasher, a sci-fi slasher in space. I mean, that tagline alone: in space, no one can hear you scream. How, that's that alone gives me the willies, right? But with Predator, Predator 2 was a good movie. Predator 2, like I said, Predator 1 gets a 9.5. Predator 2 gets a 7.5. Great, good movie. That's a good movie. A lot of people don't appreciate it. It's actually a good movie. You've got a good protagonist. You know, you've got Danny Glover, and I have to say, when you see him with his shirt off once, he bought up. He bought up for his role, really. Um, you know, Bill Paxton, great actors, great movie, and something completely different from the jungle to the city, right? But then you had sequels. Now sequels. Which movie is a sequel? An official sequel? I don't know. There are a few movies there out there that do give you small references to the original, for mainly to the original, no, to the original two, like in that new one, Prey, which is supposed to be a prequel. You know, when the Mayan Native American gets a gun from the French colonist, and she gets this musket gun, and he's explaining how to use it. I'm thinking, the Patriots against the English, and I'm not laughing anybody out, but those guns were so stupid. The cannons, those things were dangerous, but fucking guns, reloading them. Okay. If you have good swordsmen, you were killed 5 times over. That was, and everybody was just reload, reload. I mean, any case, the reference of this musket is the same one that Danny Glover gets in Predator 2 as a reward from the elder Predator. Now you have to think that Predator had a lot of trinkets. He had a pirate sword, he had multiple trinkets, daggers, and he had the musket. Now she got the musket from a colonist. Now you would think that the Predator, the elder Predator, came to Earth and killed her as a worthy warrior and took the musket as a gift, uh, as a reward, and of course her spine. Now in Predators, there's this. Actually, what I thought before I saw Predators, I thought it was directed by Robert Rodriguez. Now it's directed by a guy named Nimrod Antal. Never heard of him. Um, I thought that the Latina woman, she's called uh, all those names. Alice Braga. She's called Isabella. I thought she was the one from Predator 1, which would be logical. Because why would those gorillas have one female in their entire team? To fuck her? I don't think she wanted to be fucked. I don't think she would have let that. No, I think she had talent for something. And here she's a sniper. So I'm guessing she had some kind of talent, and I thought, oh, that's gonna be the sequel. It's that the same actress and the same character from the first Predator movie. That would make sense. No, it's not. It's just a guerrilla warrior who heard about the story about the special ops team, that went into the jungle in Nicaragua or whatever they were, and got killed, and only two survived, right? And I thought she was gonna say, "I'm one of the survivors," and no, it's not. It's not. It's not. You've got, of course, Adrian Brody, and his voice in this one. Yeah, I think so. Uh, I think I gotta get. I think I gotta take a shit. Uh, his name is Royce. He's the. So basically, everybody who is being dropped there is basically a criminal. Yeah, it's a criminal or a. He's a mercenary. So is that a criminal? I would say no, because he gets paid to do things. He doesn't kill people for the fun. So he's a mercenary, but he's talking. He's talking. Yeah, let's do it. Come on. And that's before I saw him in The Pianist, which is a great and beautiful movie. And then he plays this. Oh my god. And then you've got Lawrence Fishburne, Ronald Noland, who's this hermit that's been evading these predators because they're all these people parachuted, they were drugged, parachuted out of some kind of ship, and they landed in these reservoirs, these hunting reservoirs, and these hunting reservoirs are for the predators. So you've got more predators, hence the name Predators, right? You even have clan predators. You have the lower class and you have the A class predators, right? and Lawrence Fishburne already knows everything. There are these weird creatures that run around like locusts, and he kills one because he killed a predator and he got the gear of the predator. He had the helmet, he had the plasma gun, and he could cloak like the predator. That's how he survived for so long. Then we Topher Grace,
Total paralysis.
from that '70s show, Edwin,
Thank you.
the guy who doesn't
I'll
belong
watch
there,
for you out here.
but later we know why. Then we've
You may have
got Alice Braga, who I thought was the gorilla woman from the first movie, but she's a gorilla woman, just a sniper gorilla woman, Isabella. Walter Goggins, from what's that series again with Michael Chiklis with the corrupt cops. I like him. He plays Stans, FBI's
Your ass is
most
awesome.
a rapist, I believe. And then you've got Oleg Taktarov. He plays Nikolai, a Spetsnaz. Now, Spetsnaz is a special forces, a Russian special forces, but my knowledge, okay, Russia is always being the bad guy, but especially nowadays, but back then, when they weren't attacking people, Spetsnaz soldiers were just Spetsnaz soldiers, so okay. And then you got Danny Trejo, right? Chichillo. He's a cartel member, so yeah. You've got Luis Ozauk Hansa, a Yakuza member. And then you've got Marcel Ali, who plays Mombasa. This is a rebel of Sierra Leone. Right? I didn't have a part 2 of this shit here. Good. Yeah, no, I got all. That's a mouthful. So you've got a lot of big names in this movie, a lot of good actors, big names. So like I said, they're all dropped in this reservoir. It seems like the predators. I actually thought they take the bad seeds from the planet Earth and then drop them. It's like they have a deal with the government. Here, these are assholes, take them. But then you got Royce. He's a mercenary, but a mercenary doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Then you've got Oleg. You've got Oleg there, Nikolai, who's a Spetsnaz. Yeah, okay. Russians are seen as, especially now, of course, with the war, but back then they were just soldiers from, special forces. Yeah, and now the rest, of course, yeah, because Ronald Noland was an Air Force pilot. I'm guessing, okay, they all did some sketchy work, Roy's being, a mercenary, and Isabella, a gorilla. So, but the reference from her to the first movie is that she explained that like I said, a team went into the jungle and only 2 survived, and that's the reference. Now, it first starts, so it's a spoiler alert here, right? It starts with they hear something like a dog whistle, And they find a dead guy. A dead guy. They all have guns.
We
They
triggered
all
a dead
have,
man's trip.
I think Nikolai has this minigun.
It's 2 weeks. Just
Danny Trejo has these two submachine guns. Royce has this automatic shotgun, but with a lot of rounds. Isabella has this cool looking sniper rifle. I mean, the only one who doesn't have anything is Edwin. And that's the only guy who Royce can't figure out why he's there. Because he knew Spetsnaz, Yakuza, you're a guerrilla, cartel member, you know, and this and this and this. He knew everybody there had something bad, right? But he couldn't figure him out. He was somebody with knowledge, a doctor, but like I said, they find a cage, they find a guy whose chute didn't open because he was one of the guys who would have helped, but he died, his chute didn't open. They eventually all come together, not super willingly because they don't trust Stans because he's super, you know, Walter Goggins, he's super erratic. They give him a knife because he's not only he was not only a rapist but also he's also a racist. So he's constantly putting that knife against Mombasa's throat. The Sienna Leone fighter there, but he's holding his knife in his junk. So. So they hear that whistle going off, and then these dogs, these mutant dogs, come running out, and they're all
Fuck you! Fuck you!
It's hard to kill them. It's like he's yelling in Russian, and eventually that thing falls down. I mean, a minigun, that's like hundreds of bullets in that thing, right? I believe Isabella saves Royce at some point. Royce or Edwin, I'm not sure, with a great shot. And then you see Danny Trejo's character, Cicilio. He's like, help me. And then she's like, oh shit, we gotta help. No, it's a trap. They want us to go. Like, Royce immediately takes the lead. It's a trap. It's a trap. Because he talks like that. It's a trap. Then eventually you see him in the front side of him, and you hear him again saying, help me. But he's full of blood. He's dead. He was killed probably by one of the predators while everybody was fighting these dogs. They get whistled back. They get to this camp where the predators live, and there's this one, let's say, a juvenile predator.
Fuck is that thing?
This is a mistake. We have to leave now.
Torturing him or whatever.
where's the tough guy?
They're all like, what the fuck? And then at some point, Royce is gone, and he's an asshole basically. What he did was he wanted to lure the predators out of. He knew there were more than one, so he wanted to lure them out, and then of course the Mombasa guy gets killed. He gets one of the claws in his body. Nikolai starts to shoot everywhere with a minigun that eventually it gets destroyed by one of the plasma guns. And then you see Royce coming with his shotgun, automatic shotgun. Weird gun. I actually does this gun exist? It's like a shotgun with 100 bullets. That was a pretty cool gun. And Isabella knew he was using them as bait.
You
And
set
then
us up.
eventually they get to this guy.
He led us into that death
Ronald,
camp, then hid and waited
this,
for the thing to strike. We were bait.
And they follow him.
I needed to know who we were up against.
Obviously, of his rockers, he's been 7 years alone. He's been, you know, he hunts and scavenges what he can. Now, of course, we know that at some point he wants the shit that they have, so he wants to smoke them out, kill them.
You in my house, motherfucker!
I can feed them. I can feed them all. I can feed them all. Let's. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go. Yeah. So he's completely batshit crazy. Now, when Nolan tries to escape, of course the predators. Someone. There's an explosion. Somebody made a makeshift explosion. It explodes. It makes a hole. The predators know where they are now, and of course, Ronald said, "You finally found me." And then you see the blood, the screen of the camera full of blood from the plasma gun. Now, listen. This movie had a few cool moments. What I liked was Edwin is as useful as a fucking bitch. But later, of course, we get to know why he's there. He's a serial killer.
You couldn't
He
see me from
was
where
actually
I am.
a doctor, and that's how he killed his
See back home.
victims. He wants to kill them too, because he thinks he belongs with the monsters, because he's a monster, right? Because he's a serial killer. And he's a monster. At home he was a monster. Now he uses this plant that he knew that has a tranquilizing effect, and tranquilizes Isabella at some point. And he also uses Nikolai because he gives him a picture of a bunch of kids, but that picture weren't his kids. So Nikolai has a few kids of his own, and then he shows his kids. Those weren't his kids. They were just a picture of kids, maybe kids that he killed. And he uses him, and eventually Nikolai, like I said, Nikolai was a brave guy. He was this muscular dude. He went back to save him. Eventually he says run. He gets plasma gunned in the back, but the wound is not lethal yet. But then he says something in Russian, spits in his face, and takes these grenades off him and kills one of the predators. So there you go. And then you've got one of the coolest attacks. Stans. He doesn't have a weapon. Still, he had no weapon except that little pocket knife. But he took he took a bulletproof vest from from Nolan's. He had a lot of weapons, you know, like Hansa took a samurai blade, and Stans took one of a chest plate or something, and he gets hit by a plasma gun, and then he comes back and he jumps on this predator. He's like, "Fuck you, motherfucker!"
Die, you disgrace faggot! Who you think you're dealing with, huh? Is that all you got? Go!
Eventually he gets and then ripped to pieces. But I have Stans was actually the comedic relief of the entire bunch. But the thing that I liked the most of the entire movie, because at the end, okay, Edwin uses a tranquilized Isabella to lure the predator, but eventually the predator doesn't believe in him and stabs him, right? There were 3 predators. So what happens is Royce goes to the juvenile predator, lets him loose, takes a risk, he takes him by the neck, but he says, "Get me out of here and I'll release you." And eventually he shows his ship and his armor, his plasma gun, his claws, because he wants to kill those fucking elder predators too. Now, one of the coolest scenes is Hansa versus one of the predators. It's this samurai scene in this field of long grass, and they're like, "What?" And always one hit, and then they're getting ready again, and then "What?" And he gets him. Then "What?" Then Hansa gets one, and then it goes in a different stance. So he was a gifted samurai, and he goes back, and eventually you see the predator falling. It was a kill shot, but Hansa apparently also had a kill shot. I don't know where, because they don't show you where, but I think it was somewhere in the back, and he falls down. That was one of the coolest moments of the entire movie, in my opinion. A guy with a samurai sword, and a legit samurai guy, because he's a Yakuza member. These guys know how to train with samurai swords. These guys' forefathers were samurais. That was a cool fucking scene. But the entirety of everything is shite. So the predator, the younger predator, attacks the elder predator. He gets his ass kicked like hell. He gets his head ripped off. But then Royce, like always, just uses him. And then he comes to rescue Isabella, and then I believe he rigs Edwin with grenades, and that's the first thing. So he's wounded, and then with his skinny body, he doesn't look all as Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger had these big arms, and this one has these skinny arms. And eventually, he's athletically built, but he attacks him with this, I'm not sure what it was, like a stick with a stone, and eventually he bashes his brains in. That's it. And he wins with comfort. He doesn't get hit once by the predator. So, and then the daylight's coming, and then they see that there's a new batch of people landing, and they are going to the batches of people, and the movie insinuates they can't get the fuck out of there, and because when Royce is on the ship, but luckily just before he goes on the ship, he has a conscience. He has to help Isabella, but apparently he was lucky, because the last remaining elder predator can apparently destroy it from a, is from a distance. Like I said, okay, lights. I like Nikolai. I like Nikolai. It was, he had funny moments. That minigun was cool. He was a guy who didn't think on only on to himself. The way he dies is like a guy. He's like a man. He dies like a man. I liked Hanzo because he's never saying anything, but he speaks English. But he says it's better to say nothing than to say something, and he finds that samurai sword and he's studying it, and in Nolan's little, cave or whatever. Uh, and then Stans was actually a pretty brave piece of SOB because he just jumps on a predator with a small pocket knife and sticks it in his neck. Now I have to say, kudos, because the guy got his skull ripped out. Okay, but he eventually said when he was doing that, "Leave, I got him." Yeah, so eventually he turned into good. I kind of liked that Royce went back to the camp of the Predators and released the imprisoned Predator and tried to make a deal with him. This lets you see that they can communicate with people, but I just there's not. It's basically a rehash of the first movie. You've got a group of skilled soldiers, you know, sniper, Spetsnaz, mercenary, yakuza. Instead of that, they're all criminal, but criminal specialized killers. It's basically it's a rehash of the first one, except with more predators. Uh, and you have to think, two of those three predators were fairly easily killed. While in the first movie they had AR-15s with grenade launchers, they had a minigun. Uh, Remember when Bill Duke's character says, Mac, I believe, contact. I mean, sorry, I just love that movie, but this movie is just a rehash. It's a rehash of the first movie, and it has a few cool moments. Like I said, with the samurai, that was something different. He know guns are no good, so he drops his guns. The predator drops his face. He knows he's gonna get a fight with his claws, and he with his sword. He takes off his shirt. You know, Yakuzas have these big ass tattoos on their backs, and no, I like that. I like that. But the rest of it wasn't. Attention wasn't there. I mean, yeah, when Cuchillo, Danny Trejo is saying, "Help me," that was somewhat of a creepy moment because she shoots him in a place that would kill him, and then she hears him saying it again, and that was a creepy moment. But for the rest, this movie is. I give it a 5.5. It's worth a watch. I think it's, if you have Predator 1 and 2, these are the two best, still are the two best. But from all the potential runner-ups, I'm not going to call them sequels, is Predators probably the best one. I think it's the best one. That's my opinion. So give it a try. See you later. Get me away out of this hole. Bye.